Welcome back, creatures of the night, to another very special bonus watch along episode as I continue the journey with Randy Turco along Undertaker's tag team championship victories. As we are almost near the end, we are at the second to last championship match as the Brothers of Destruction make one final stop on SmackDown to take on the team of Sean O'Haire and Chuck Palumbo with, do you remember what is their tag team name again?
I don't know that their tag team had a name. I was just thinking in my head, I know that they were part of a stable with like above average Mike Sanders in WCW. And it starts with an I, and I can't remember what it is. But if you start talking again, I'll look it up.
Above average stable. I guess that's the perfect way to describe Chuck Palumbo and Sean O'Haire. But this is the match we have coming to you this week and this month as December edition. And it is the August 9th, 2001 edition of SmackDown. The invasion is in full swing. Team WWF versus Team Alliance. As we've seen throughout this episode, you have Stone Cold Steve Austin, you have the return of The Rock. And so WWF is getting the big guns ready for SummerSlam. That is only a couple weeks away. And we have the final, like I said, the final stop on SmackDown for the Brothers of Destruction and for the Undertaker's Tag Team Championship victory, as our final Tag Team Championship episode will bring us to SummerSlam 2001. So this is going to be an exciting one. Anything you want to say for this episode before we get started on the match?
I don't know where I got the letter I from. It's the Natural Born Thrillers. So the Natural Born Thrillers was the stable name with in the dying days of WCW with people like above average Mike Sanders, Sean Stasiak, Chuck Palumbo, Johnny the Bull, and Reno.
Wow.
They were all the Natural Born Thrillers. So along with O'Haire and Mark Jindrak. So that was, I think that's what they called the tag team once they got over to WWF and were doing the invasion there.
Well, I do not blame you for forgetting, as that whole stable is very forgettable. But before we get into the match, anything you would like to say about this episode or what's happening in the WWF at this time?
Yeah, I watched the whole episode. I don't know if you did. I watched the whole thing.
Bits and pieces.
It was, so this is in LA, it's in Hollywood. And I noted that they showed Arnold and David Arquette in the audience, not together, but at different times. Arnold and David Arquette, former WCW champion, David Arquette. I never remembered, I guess, that Arnold came back, because I remembered Arnold was on the pilot for SmackDown in '99.
Yes.
Didn't remember that he came back a couple years later. So it was kind of cool to see that he was back in 2001. I saw RVD is already the hardcore champion. So he's already a part of this division. Of course, he's going to lose it and win it a couple times, but he's already a part of that division. And as you know, that's where we're headed in December of 2001 with The Undertaker. So it's kind of cool to see RVD's already doing it,
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that Peacock dubbed over X Factor's music. So X-Pac got to lead his own little group there with Albert, and then they had the theme song by Uncle Kracker. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes.
Where it was like, I got everything I ever wanted and I'll never give that. And like they totally dub over it on Peacock with some generic butt rock, which I was just very I was very disappointed that they got rid of one of the greatest theme songs of all time. So I had to make a note of it for sure. I noted that Shane and Booker T had an in-ring segment where they were kind of dragging The Rock a little bit, because the Rock and Booker T are going to have their match at SummerSlam for the WCW title. And Shane and Booker had an in-ring segment, but I did make a note that they did not kiss.
Okay.
Unlike Shane and Big Show last time. So I just wanted
Shane and Big Show.
Right. Moppy. I don't know if you saw setting up the cue for tonight's match right before this.
Yes.
That segment with Moppy. So Saturn has Moppy, and then Terry Reynolds says, you got to choose between the mop or me. And Saturn chooses the mop. And so Terry ends up aligning herself with Raven, and Terry and Raven end up kidnapping Moppy. Moppy goes missing. during this
is
episode.
ridiculous.
And this is August of 01. I looked it up. Moppy dies in a wood chipper. Raven puts her in a wood chipper on Raw in September. So Moppy only has about a month to live, just so you know, just so we can all prepare ourselves mentally to relive that again. And then this is the famous spot where this episode is the famous spot where Rhino gores Chris Jericho through the SmackDown symbol. This is from this episode of SmackDown. I thought that was pretty cool.
So that means the next week's SmackDown, they get the new stage, correct?
They must, yeah. I thought of that. Yeah, they might. I didn't turn it on to confirm, but they must on August 16th then have maybe like the fist, because the fist comes around SummerSlam 2001, so that makes sense. Wow. So yeah, they had Rhino is being backed by Stephanie McMahon, trying to run down Jericho because Jericho is always dragging Stephanie in his promos, so they're feuding. Stephanie is looking quite delicious at age 24. She was, for me as a college boy, it was kind of like you can keep your Trish and you can keep your Lita, but Stephanie McMahon, whew, still to this day. But yeah, so Rhino gores Y2J through that SmackDown set, and that's a very famous spot, and that came from this episode. It's cool.
I remember that. Oh my gosh. So quite a historic episode. You know, you had Undertaker and Kane taking the WCW Tag Team Championships. You have the infamous gore through the stage to set up the fist stage coming, and then you have the return of The Rock to set up his match with Booker T. So quite the episode here. So it's not just a throwaway episode that the Undertaker and Kane win the titles on. It is definitely one to be remembered.
Yeah, they had a lot going on. And I remembered one of the things that we talked about last month, that we loved that on a random SmackDown or Raw, they built up the main event for the tag team titles with like a 6-segment buildup in the same night. This one's not quite as big, and this one's also not the main event. They have a 6-man with Angle and Austin, each leading a team. That's the main event. But I still thought it was really neat that they had 4 segments to build up this match within the same night. And for like a secondary tag team title match, I thought that was very cool that they took the time to build that up, even if it was just for one night. It's just something you don't really see anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah, it really isn't. Matches are rushed and put together sloppily. So it's nice to see that back in this era. You have, things, even if it's like an hour episode or a 2-hour episode of SmackDown, you have different segments leading up to that match, get you prepared, even if it's just like, because they're hoping that you are tuning in for the first time.
Sure.
So they want to hook you. So you have things leading up to the match, and hopefully people will stick around and witness the match. So that was genius back then. Great work from Vince and whoever was leading the charge at this time. Could have been Bruce and people like that. So great ideas back at this time.
Yeah, and it goes back to Raw on the Raw that happens before this SmackDown, where DDP is still stalking Sarah, because this happened at King of the Ring.
Still happening?
Yeah. 2 months later, DDP is still stalking Sarah, and he set up a shrine in the locker room, and Undertaker sees the shrine, and he's going to tear it down, and then he gets jumped by the Jersey Boys, by Kanyon and DDP on Raw. So that kind of starts this whole thing, and then they talk about at the top of the show that Kane and Undertaker aren't here yet, but so they start off the night with DDP and Kanyon taking on the APA for the tag titles. No Undertaker or Kane to come help the APA. They're not here yet. And Test apparently decides to defect from the WWF to the Alliance.
That's big news. You have lost Test. You have lost Test.
He's I guess maybe the first defector. I don't know. But they were making a big deal out of it, and he does help the DDP and Kanyon win the WWF Tag Team titles. And it's the last time that the APA hold the belts. I looked it up. They don't ever get the belts back after tonight. So this is their last reign, and it ends.
Wow. It ends here.
It's kind of crazy. So there's a whole lot going on in this episode of SmackDown.
A whole lot going on.
And then they show in the next segment, they show DDP and Canyon celebrating with Test in the back. And then, Canyon's got the 2 belts because he's the U.S. champion too. Booker T gave him the U.S. title, so he's now a double champion.
So bad.
And they're celebrating. And like Test says, he's going to go get them a table at the Viper Room, the famous nightclub in Hollywood there. So he leaves, and then Regal comes in, and Regal, like with no buildup at all, he's just like, I'm the commissioner of the WWF. You're now the WWF Tag Team Champions. You fall under my jurisdiction. So I'm going to set up a match. Your first defense is going to be at SummerSlam in a cage against the Brothers of Destruction. Like, just like that.
Oh my God. So now Regal's a face.
Right. At least for that moment in time that he's, because last month they were setting his garbage in his office on fire. And
right? They were setting his whole office on fire last month. Oh my God.
Yeah. So they, so then the next segment they have later in the night, they have Palumbo and O'Hare getting involved, and they come up to Austin in his locker room with Deborah, and they say, hey, Steve, I know you're a champion. You're teaming with the Dudleys tonight in the 6-man main event. They got your back, but we're champions. Just like you're a champion, we can get your back in the future. And then Steve talks him up into doing something stupid. He's just like, go out there and make an impact. Don't be afraid to be a legend, and so he talks him up into doing something dumb. And then in the next segment, O'Hare and Palumbo walk into Regal's office and say, hey, we're the WCW Tag Team Champions. We'll take on anybody in the WWF tonight. Open challenge. And then that's when Regal says, well, the APA's already wrestled. The Hardys are in the main event with Austin and Angle. I'll try to find somebody. I don't know who I could possibly get, but I'll look for somebody. And then, of course, when we do the entrances, we find out who the challengers are going to be.
It's hilarious.
It's kind of a cool little 4-segment story. That's kind of cool.
4 segments, so it all connects to each other. You have it set up. Regal puts the brothers into the WWF Tag Team Championships at SummerSlam, and now he puts them here for the WCW so they can merge both titles, hopefully, together at SummerSlam.
And I don't remember what I was thinking at this time in August of 2001, but I'm sure a lot of fans are thinking Undertaker and Kane are better than the Natural Born Thrillers, right? But there's no way they're going to let them win the WCW tag belts and then go win the WWF tag belts at SummerSlam. There's no way they're going to. So if I probably put myself back in these shoes, I probably would be thinking, there's some tomfoolery that's going to go down, and we're going to have a schmaz, and there's going to be a no ending here, because there's no way they're going to give them the WCW tag belts and then they're going to go to SummerSlam and challenge for the other ones.
But how wrong you would be.
Right.
How wrong you would be.
Pleasantly surprised. Yes.
So before we get into the match, for those watching on YouTube, you can see we are in our best Undertaker sweater gear, because this is our December episode, is our Christmas episode. If only Vengeance would have fallen into this month. If only we would have started 2 months earlier, we've got perfect timing with December. But oh well, as things go, the August 9th edition of SmackDown is our Christmas episode. So we're in our best light up Undertaker sweater gear, as it has made it festive for this day.
We did plan to wear these at the same time, but we did not plan to both buy them. So that kind of worked out. Although I totally would be down for that anytime in the future if that comes up. But it was just kind of like, did you buy that? I bought that. We should wear them. Yes. This is Christmas. So I'm excited because there's not too many places that you can wear this out there. So I'm going to wear it now, and I'm going to wear it to at the chiropractor tomorrow. They have the ugly sweater party. So I'm going to be wearing it at the chiropractor as my chiropractor wrenches on me. And then our office party, our virtual office party, I'll probably have it on for that, because this is about as ugly as it gets, and I love it.
Yes. It was a big hit at my office ugly sweater party. So everybody got a kick out of it, especially that it lights up around the lightning in his hands. And it's when it comes to ugly sweaters, anything that lights up, it's ugly. But it's the Undertaker, so they get a pass.
they've had some previous ugly sweaters for Taker that I just didn't think about, or I passed on it. I wish I wouldn't have. I don't remember if any of the other ones lit up. And if they do, this is like a sweatshirt that looks like a sweater. But are any of the sweaters, do any of the actual sweaters light up? I haven't seen if they do.
I don't think they do.
So I think it's kind of like you get one or the other. Either it's an actual sweater or it's a sweatshirt that looks like a sweater, but it lights up. In which case, I'll take this every day of the week, twice on Sunday.
Definitely. Me too. So it's great that we matched. Great that we bought the same item. Perfect timing that it came in time for this and everything else. So I think no better time than to start the match. Are you all ready to go?
Yeah, I'm queued up. I don't know what your number is. I'm queued up at 53-58, which is you're looking at the nice. You're looking at the oval Titantron of the Natural Born Thrillers as they're coming down the aisle.
So bad. So bad. Yes, but that is where both of us are queued up on the season 3, episode 32 edition of SmackDown. It says Friday Night SmackDown, but it was on a Thursday, I believe, at this time. August 9th, 2001, 53 minutes, 58 seconds. And I am ready. Are you ready?
I am ready always.
If only we had a Triple H match, then we could do the DX Are You Ready a couple more times.
And do the spit take, you're right?
Right. So we will count down from 3, 2, 1, press play, and we will get started. 3, 2, 1, play.
Boom.
The Natural Born Thrillers.
And as they come out, the first thing I noticed was like, you know what? The WCW tag belts look bigger and kind of cooler than I remember. I mean, these don't look too bad.
Yeah. These would be the tag belts coming with that ringside exclusive Undertaker figure.
Right. Palumbo and O'Hare have held these belts since January of 01. They won them at WCW Sin in January. They held them throughout the final Nitro in April, and then, of course, nothing for a couple months. And now they still have them in August. So they've actually had like a 7-month reign, which you wouldn't
think them back as champions and just keep the belts on them?
Yep, just so they can get killed here. Yeah.
Well,
spoiler.
Spoiler for as someone who has not watched the episode in 20 years. Oh, look at that crowd reaction.
And this is, we talked about last month, it was April of 01. They didn't have the music mashup yet. They do have the music mashup here for Kane and Undertaker.
They have the music mashup. Ooh, no motorcycle.
No, Undertaker looking like that ringside exclusive that you were just talking about. He's got the beanie, right?
Yeah. With Deadman, which for some reason, figure companies cannot put Deadman ink on a figure. Right.
I never understood that. And I don't remember that beanie at all. I mean, I'm sure it was for sale, but I had that Deadman ink shirt. I bought a lot of his stuff. I don't remember the beanie. I don't know why I didn't buy it.
I don't remember it either, actually.
I
remember the shirts, the glasses, and everything like that. They even had them have Deadman ink gloves.
They had the gloves, right?
I can't remember the beanie though.
Yeah, I wish I would have bought it, right? But I didn't. I'd be wearing it right now.
There's a lot of things I wish I would have bought.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Every time I see Sarah, I think about how she's a blonde, and like she's apparently not really a blonde. Like WWE wanted her to go blonde for some reason. So that's why she did that during her run. But
that's right, she's a brunette. I remember that.
Right.
That's interesting. Vince and his blondes on TV.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the deal is with that. By the way, you'll see it throughout the course of the match. Undertaker still wearing that hook on his pants. It's still there, folks.
You need to know why. You need to know.
I will be asking him when I pay $400 and meet him one day.
Yes. That is the $400 question.
It is without question. Yes.
Mm. Well, you could just pay $250. You could just pay like $250, get a thing signed, and get your question without paying $400.
Have him write the answer on the actual photo. It's smart that they're having Kane start this match. He's the stronger brother of destruction. Undertaker just got jumped on Monday, so I thought that was pretty smooth.
Oh, yes, right.
Yeah.
So he just got jumped on Monday. And then uninjured Kane. Last time we saw Kane, he was wearing that injury to his elbow.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought it was interesting that Chuck Palumbo just got one clothesline in on Kane, and he got a 2 count. Palumbo gets a 2 on Kane with one clothesline.
Palumbo gets a 2 count. And then Palumbo, after this, he goes to what, Billy and Chuck, and then he steals the Undertaker's badass gimmick later on.
He does. He's got a pretty long. I got some notes on that. He's got a pretty long tenure, actually, for more than you would think for Chuck Palumbo, right?
I can't wait to hear about Chuck Palumbo's tenure later.
That's why we're all here, right?
That's right. This is real journalism here. We're all here to hear about Chuck Palumbo's tenure.
The commentary is talking about how Taker is extra ornery because DDP is after his wife, so he's taking it out on Sean O'Haire.
That's good to know.
I do see that Undertaker foam fist in the third row. I don't know if you could see the guy stick it up once in a while.
Yes, the foam fist. Another one that I would love to get.
It's not too bad. It's like $60 or $80 on eBay, as opposed to like the urn is like $400. That's ridiculous.
I know.
But first part, I got 2 foam fingers, the purple ones, and I got the urn from last year. But part of me thinks about pulling the trigger on that foam fist. Maybe it'll happen.
Yeah.
That's doable.
Yeah, I can't believe you found the foam finger like so easily under the bed.
Yeah, Deanna had it under her childhood bed.
Yeah, your wife's bedroom, underneath her bed, you find the foam fingers. You don't have to pay anything for them. 2 of them.
One was her sister's.
I'm so jealous of your luck.
One is better than the other one. The other one has a couple little chunks out of it, but overall, both pretty good. Yeah.
So jealous.
I wonder if I could flip one of those for the fist or something. Yes. I don't know.
Yeah. I just hit the microphone, so that's going to come off as a static thing later on. That's going to be great.
Oh, Taker with that running DDT. Yes. I used to love to do that on like No Mercy.
Oh, yeah. It's always the best comeback move when you're like down and out. That running DDT gets you right back in the game.
Looking for that hot tag, and here comes Kane. Kane wants to hit that trademark clothesline.
Yes.
There it is.
A faster, slimmer Undertaker and Kane.
Yeah, Kane's taking out the WCW Tag Team Champions by himself.
Yeah. Pulling an Undertaker moveset here. Pulling him to the corner, running back and forth.
Big side slam. Boom. Yeah. Power slam on Palumbo. Look at him. He's killing these guys.
Is Taz still with the Alliance at this time? I don't remember. They kicked him out yet.
I think he's like the Alliance commentator. I remember him being kind of a heel commentator when I was watching this last week.
They don't have a announce table anymore.
No. Oh, here we go.
Ooh, double choke slam.
We don't even know who's legal, but they're both going to pin their guys here.
Yeah.
And that's it. Just like that.
Just like that. The match is over.
Turns out Palumbo was the legal man. I rewound it and watched it. Palumbo was the legal man, but they both pinned their guy. They didn't even need a tombstone. No tombstone, no last ride necessary.
No, Undertaker, didn't even pin Chuck Palumbo that well. He just like laid on him.
But Kane's music goes off first because he is the guy that I guess Undertaker got the pin. I don't know why Kane's music went first, but then when he does the pyro there, it switches to Limp Bizkit and they start celebrating. So,
but new WCW Tag Team Champions. I think that was that 8 minutes or was that even less? I didn't even time it.
It was an 8-minute segment, but it was with entrances and stuff. It's probably a 5-6 minute match. It wasn't much. It was obviously the first WCW tag team title for Taker, and obviously the first for Kane. So it got that parallel going on again. First time the WCW tag belts changed hands under the WWF umbrella. So that was a first. Actually, I looked it up. These guys, Brothers of Destruction would hold the WCW tag belts for 49 days, which we've been covering the WWF runs for Taker, and his tag team runs in WWF were 18 days, 10 days, 5 days. I mean, 1 day, whatever. 49 days is like by far the longest that he had for any tag belt.
Yeah.
They would lose it to Booker T and Test on a September 25th, 2001 SmackDown.
Again, Test.
Maybe this was all part of
comes into the picture.
They actually, I looked up, they had Taker and Kane. I'm sure they defended it a few times, but Taker and Kane had one notable defense where they defended it on the following Monday's Raw.
Ooh.
They were ordered to defend it in a rematch against the
Natural
Thrillers in a cage, just like the SummerSlam match is going to be, in a cage. And it went about the same way. I mean, Taker and Kane killed them and retained the belts, but they did have to retain it on Monday.
They did have to retain it in a cage on Monday, which is a prelude to SummerSlam 2001, where we get another cage, but for both belts, WWF and WCW. The possible merger of the two belts, which, spoiler, since we are talking about Undertaker's tag team championship victories, does happen. So, and then that's the ringside exclusive. So hopefully by next month, the figure's in stock and has shipped. So we have something here to show. Fingers crossed.
I would love that. Yes.
And then let's see about I had in mind. Oh yeah, they defended against Chronic, don't they? At Unforgiven.
It was either Unforgiven or No Mercy. I can't remember. Yeah,
one of the two. They defend titles against Chronic, and then they lose one before the other, and then they lose the other one.
Yeah, I think they lose the WWF tag belts first because he never held those beyond like 20 days, and this was 49, which is a lot for him.
Right. I was like, when you said 49 days, I'm like, oh my God, that's unheard of to have Undertaker have a tag team title that long.
Right. Yeah. He's usually, or any belt really. I mean, he's usually a chaser. I mean, as much as I hate to admit it, he's usually a chaser. So he doesn't have it very long, or he gets hurt and has to cough up the world title after WrestleMania every year. So I'm quite used to that. But 49 days, I was like, all right, I don't remember it going that long, but all right, I'll take it.
Yeah, 97 he had a long run, 09, but most of the times it's not long.
So I did a dossier. I wanted to know, we know where the Undertaker and Kane are going after this. What the heck happens to Palumbo and O'Haire after this? So I looked it up, and you would think like Palumbo and O'Haire are part of like the youth movement in WCW. They're not Hogan or Nash or Hall. These are the young guys coming in. And I looked it up. You're thinking, so if they're the young bucks, they're probably like 24, 22, 25. But both guys, Palumbo and O'Haire here, are 30 in 2000. Wow. They're already 30, which is not, it's young, but it's not like 22 young.
Yeah.
So they're both already 30. And Sean O'Haire, we talked a little bit about it last month. He basically, after the invasion ends, he goes to OVW for all of 2002. When he's a heel in OVW, he kind of gets some seasoning. He learns the WWF playbook, as they say. And then when he comes back in January of 03, that's when they start to air those vignettes where he's the devil's advocate. And he starts telling people to, he starts urging people to break the law, not pay taxes, commit adultery, and not go to church. And then he always ends it with his famous tagline, "I'm not telling you anything that you don't already know." And my college buddies and I loved this gimmick. I mean, we just thought this guy was going to be a world champion. This is going to be pushed to the moon. This is amazing. God. I loved these these vignettes. Maybe you can pipe one in when you're editing. I don't know, but
Pipe one in.
that at least the tagline was so good, his little slogan. And then so once he got to the main roster, he's like used his power of persuasion to get wrestlers to do dumb stuff. So like he got Brian Kendrick to streak. He got Dawn Marie to flash the audience. And even then I'm like, okay, all right. He's convincing people to embarrass themselves. And then where it kind of went off the rails is in April of 2003, they pair him with Roddy Piper. And as much as I love Roddy Piper, he had nothing to do with this other than they're both bad guys.
Okay.
And I remember in the 80s, Piper, famously hit Jimmy Snuka with a coconut on the Piper's Pit. So they tried to recreate that with like O'Hare and Rikishi, but like Piper's backing O'Hare and Snuka is backing Rikishi. And it's kind of went off the rails from there. And then Piper's let go of his contract in July of 2003. And then I think by November of 2003, O'Hare gets in a motorcycle crash and gets hurt. And then he's out. Yeah. And then by 2004, early 2004, they just release him outright and say, you're gone. And that's it for Sean O'Hare. I think he did some MMA. I don't know if he was really great at it after pro wrestling. And then, as we know, he did die, unfortunately, way too soon of a suicide in 2014. So
Sean O'Hare's dead? I didn't know that.
Yeah. It was. I think he was maybe like in his 40s, like 43 or something like that. Still way too young, but just a shame because I remember my college buddies and I in January of 2003, we were like, oh my gosh, Sean O'Hare is going to be the world champion. This is the greatest gimmick ever, and it just didn't play out right. WWE kind of WWE'd it, and then he got hurt, and then that was that, So it didn't work out great for Sean O'Hare. Palumbo, as we were talking about, Palumbo had a run. I didn't remember him having that great of a run. I don't know if you still have your TV on, but Rhino just killed Jericho.
Rhino just killed Jericho through the stage.
And there's Stephanie McMahon, she was my like posters on the wall. I had all of her Jax figures in my dorm room. Like such a crush. Oh my gosh, Stephanie McMahon. I used to say that Hunter Hearst Helmsley he's living the dream because I have allowed it. That's what I used to say, but I'm sure that's not true.
Well, if you Triple H, that's what you could tell him.
Right. Yeah. Palumbo, so he goes on and he gets thrown out of the alliance by Stephanie McMahon in October of 2001. So he gets fired from the alliance. He defects to WWF before the Survivor Series winner takes all. So he's on the right side of things.
Which Test wins.
The immunity battle royal, yeah.
We're just circling everything around the Test.
So he starts teaming up with Chuck, or Chuck starts teaming up with Billy, rather. And like you said, Billy and Chuck are successful. They win 2 tag team titles together. So that's a successful team. And I don't know if I mentioned it before, but I was at the commitment ceremony.
With Eric Bischoff and everything?
It was September 12th of 2002 in Minneapolis.
That's groundbreaking. That was groundbreaking stuff.
Yeah, like I loved that segment. I loved that team. I mentioned when I was at WrestleMania 18, I was like one of the few that were cheering on Billy and Chuck to beat the APA and the Hardys and the Dudleys, everybody in that 4-way tag title match. It's like the usual guys and Billy and Chuck. And I was like, oh, come on, Billy and Chuck.
Come on, Billy and Chuck.
Yeah, somebody different. And then, then we got to that SmackDown, that commitment ceremony in Minneapolis. And that was just such a cool segment. And then Billy and Chuck actually say, we're not gay. We're just doing a publicity stunt, and we're not the ones who thought of it. It's our evil stylist and manager, Rico. So they blame it on Rico. And that's, you're right. That's when Bischoff tore off his like makeup chin and his makeup nose. And he I had no idea it was him. And then 3-minute warning comes down and kills everybody. It was so awesome. It was such a good segment. Billy and Chuck kept teaming after that, but it didn't have the same magic after that. It wasn't the same tag team, unfortunately. And then I think Billy gets hurt and Chuck ends up joining the FBI, not the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Not the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
but the full-blooded Italian. So he ends up joining them. And I think he goes from there, he gets released, and then he's gone for a year or so. And he comes back the second time as the biker taker, as we always talk about how he ripped off the Undertaker in his second run.
With Michelle McCool.
Yeah, and I didn't know this. I always make fun of Chuck for ripping off the Undertaker, but that's like apparently a legit hobby of his, is like pimping out like cars and motorcycles. And he
Okay,
had, like,
good. I'm glad you finished that sentence. Pimping out cars and motorcycles.
Yeah.
Thank you for finishing that sentence.
Apparently he like co-hosted a show on Discovery Channel that was kind of like Pimp My Ride. You know what I mean?
But know all this. This is all brand new information here, folks. This is
so, like,
new journalism.
They always say they like take a guy's personality and they jack it up to 10. And that's, so maybe it wasn't necessarily just ripping off the Undertaker, because it really is Chuck's hobby, is working on cars and bikes. So he ended up doing the gimmick for a while, but then and then he obviously was released too, and that was after his second run, and that was it. But he had a good long run, and he won some tag belts, and
yeah,
there was a lot of guys that came over from WCW that had lesser runs.
Very much so.
Buff Bagwell, yeah.
Buff Bagwell. But one that has not was Rob Van Dam, which we will get to in 2 months for the Hardcore Championship match, which is a match I haven't rewatched in a while, so I'm looking forward to that one. And I'm looking forward to where we go with this afterwards. Have you given that any thought?
Oh, after you mean after the tag titles and then after Rob Van Dam, the Hardcore title?
Yes.
It's actually 3 different series, right? The first series is his tag team title wins.
Yes.
Second series is his secondary title wins, which
I wish was more. I wish it was intercontinental and stuff.
I don't know. I so far you and I have talked about possibly doing just even 1 by 1, which would take us quite a while. I think if we went through and did every Buried Alive match that he was in, every Buried Alive match, and there's some of them that were on rando shows.
Yeah, we can do just like gimmick matches, like caskets and Buried Alive and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was thinking we could do Buried Alive, and then after Buried Alive, we could go through all those 2, 3, whatever it is, 4, and then we can go. Okay, now we're gonna do caskets, all the caskets. Okay, now we're gonna do Hell in a Cell, all the Hell in a Cell. I mean, we can just go through all of them 1 by 1, and I think that in itself would take a while.
Oh yeah, there's at least 14 Hell in the Cells, so that's. However you want to spread that around, that's at least.
We'd be back next year wearing these.
Yeah, next year, still talking about stuff. But I think that sounds like a good plan. I think gimmick matches after the Hardcore title. I think that pencil that in.
Because I think that there's some matches that have been talked about to death, like him and Shawn and this Hell in a Cell, which is a great match, but everybody's talked it to death, and we'll go through that too. But I think that there are some hidden gems, kind of like these tag wins that we've went through. There's some ones that everybody's seen before, like Austin at Fully Loaded and stuff. But it's the SummerSlam one everybody's seen at SummerSlam '99. But there's some ones like this one that you might have saw once and then kind of forgot about. Yeah, so I think
SummerSlam, even SummerSlam 01,
right?
That's a pay-per-view that's just. A couple matches are talked about, but not really the cage match. So I'm looking forward to talk about that one next month.
Yeah. I think there's going to be some good gems in there that we're going to be like, oh yeah, I forgot that they had a Buried Alive on Raw or whatever,
Yeah. Right. Well, to close out the podcast, it wouldn't be the Collecting Deadman podcast unless we talk about some type of collectibles, action figures, or things like that. So it is our Christmas episode. I think you brought up the suggestion. I think it's only fitting we talk about Christmas ornaments, favorite Christmas ornaments, stuff like that. Christmas figurines, stuff, even Christmas memories. Something I haven't had the chance to talk to you yet about that. So a little bit of Christmas memories, figurines, ornaments, little Christmas section to end off the podcast. So ball's in your court, Randy. What do you want to talk about first?
Yeah, so I took the ornaments off my tree because I thought, we like to talk about some of the figures and toys and collectibles from the period of the match that we just watched, but we've been kind of stuck. We've been stuck in 2001 for about 3 months now. So
Yes, we have.
The well is getting dry. So I thought, well, it's Christmas, man. I got the tree out. The junk tree is out in full effect. And I thought, you know what? Let's talk about some of these taker ornaments that I don't have a lot, but I've got a few of them on my tree. But first and foremost, it's not taker, but I did get out Naked Goldberg.
Naked Goldberg.
So they do have this Goldberg. This is a WCW Goldberg ornament from 1999.
Is that that the Major Pod talked about like last year or something?
Yeah, and he's sitting there. He's sitting in a chair with his sack of toys. But the way that his sack of toys is situated, you can't see that he has any pants on. So it just looks like he's naked. Well, he's got gloves on, I suppose, and a hat. So there you go.
It stays on.
I could not talk about Naked Goldberg or while we're at, for that matter, Ho Ho Hogan.
Ho Ho Hogan.
Yep, Ho Ho Hogan, same 1999 WCW. He's got the sleeveless Santa outfit, and he's holding up a teddy bear. He's not naked, but it's still Ho Ho Hogan. So I could not talk about those two, even though they're not Undertaker. I'll start off with the, I'm sure the standard gingerbread Undertaker from, I don't know what year this was, but this is like the standard basic Undertaker. I had one of my friends buy me this for Christmas one year, kind of a stocking stuffer. Pretty decent. I would say it's not wrestle crap. It's a gingerbread man, but it's a standard Undertaker look, and he looks like a cookie. Like he's got the right shade. Okay.
That's the one I got. I have that one. I remember that's the first one I think they ever released of him. The standard.
Yeah, I would say if you're going to do gingerbread superstars, like this one makes sense.
Yeah.
What I don't know if it makes sense, I guess he's not gingerbread now that I think about it, but I suppose he's a snowman.
Boneyard snowman taker.
I was just thinking, like, this looks like, I don't know if he's supposed to be, I think now that we mention it, now that we're on the air, I assume it's a snowman, but like, I'm thinking he's a gingerbread man again. And I'm like, he looks like bird poop. Right. Like he's not, like, who wants to have a cookie that's this white? But I think you're right. I think he's just supposed to be a snowman. He's also, it's hard to like show, but like how thick he is compared to the other. Like he is thick. Like I could kill a man with this. If somebody breaks into my house, I could hit somebody with this and kill a man. Like this is.
So you just admitted to using that as a dangerous weapon. So that is good to know.
Yes. He has got the TX on the back, very much like the Boneyard Deadman did. So he's kind of accurate. This was the one I famously bought this summer when I bought the shades, and I bought something else. I can't remember what it was, but it was either, do you want to pay $5 for shipping, or do you want to pay $4.99 for this and get free shipping? And because you go over the hump on free shipping. So
a question.
Yep. I don't know if you bought, I don't have them yet, but the new gingerbread man is the Phantom of the Opera gingerbread paper.
Yes.
And they've had a couple sales, and it's been $5 or $7, and I'm like, man, I should pull them and get that. So I'm kind of like waiting for something else to do at the same time. I don't know, Taker Hall of Fame gear, something like that, where I could buy that and get the new ornament. Right. I know I'll be buying a lot of Taker Hall of Fame gear. So if they still have some of those gingerbread men laying around, I might pull the trigger then. Yes. And then this is the one I couldn't find. This is the ornament I couldn't find.
That's a nice one.
Right. The actual Undertaker. My wife and I were looking before I signed on. I'm like, where's he at? He's not on the tree anywhere. And we looked up and down, and he was still in his box somehow. We must have missed him. So I'm glad that this happened. So now he'll get on the tree for a couple weeks. But this is the good one.
Yeah.
Doesn't have a year on here, but it's a really good likeness of him. I mean, it really is.
It's definitely something I have to look for. An Undertaker actual figurine ornament. That's a nice one. Yeah.
And so that's, oh no, I do have one more ornament. Then I've got
that's the ones I remember. Yes. When I was a kid, we had those. I remember it's like, how would you describe it? It's almost like a blown ornament.
It's like a bulb. Yeah.
Looks almost like, it's a bulb that It has like some kind of finish to it, if I remember, that looks like it's some kind of glossy. I like it.
Right. And it's white and it's Ministry of Darkness, Enter the Ministry, Undertaker on the front, and then his word mark on the back. And 1998. I mean, they've got a couple different ones of these. I just have the one. I remember the Attitude Era, like you say, they put it on everything.
Everything. There's like 5 different versions of that ornament that I've seen. And like,
right.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that's all I got for ornaments, but I did get one other collectible that I'm just preparing for January. Is I did find a WWF Classic Tag Team Title Elite belt on eBay. It was like $15-17. So he's ready for when the ringside exclusive Undertaker with the WCW tag belts come.
Yes, he is.
I can pair him with this belt, and that Undertaker will represent right now what we just covered when they are, well, I guess next month, when they are Yes, when they are unified tag team champions. And I knew that I had to get an elite championship belt for not $100, not $50. And I was looking up on eBay, like what elite figures come with this? And there's not too many. I mean, there's like a Yokozuna that comes with 2, but he's like $100. I couldn't find a lot of options to get this, but I did find one on eBay. Somebody was selling it for like 18, 17, something like that. And I thought, good enough.
Yes. Now you just need your Hall of Champions Taker. Eventually, when there's a good deal ski put up there. Yes,
sometimes it takes a little while. Yeah.
Yes. But I wish the ringside figure would have came with a WWF tag belt, so it could have represented him fully at SummerSlam, unifying the titles.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to go for. I mean, he'll hold the belts one way or the other, but like I'm trying to recreate where he links the 2 belts behind his neck and then he just lets them hang on either side.
Yes.
I don't know if I'll be able to do that with an action figure, but I'm going to try.
You can always put them in both hands, put the strap down. So like when he wins it, he's holding both of them.
That was a big selling point. The beanie, it's okay. But the big selling point for me was the straps down, because I don't have anything like that in my D12. So that'll look really cool.
Yeah. If you're going to have just like one D12 of figures that stand out, that one will stand out.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
For sure. And he can hold both of those belts. And until I get a Hall of Champions, he can at least represent the tag team champion Undertaker, for now.
There you go.
So, but is there, I know you don't have your tree out, which, my God, man, it's late.
I have my tree out. I just don't have my ornaments out yet.
Oh, gotcha. You got like 10 days. Are you going to get them out?
Yes. This is this weekend's project.
Nice.
Yes.
So, I mean, I know you probably have a lot of repeats. Do you remember the Taker ornaments that you got off the top of your head? I know it's been a year.
Yeah, I have the Boneyard Snowman. I have the classic Deadman. I think I'm getting the Phantom Taker and the Stocking Stuffer this year, so I don't have them yet, but I think I've got them.
Nice.
And I have the Badass Gingerbread Man. The one they made a Badass one. The only one I'm missing, I know they made the like WrestleMania 28 version of Taker, having like that long cloak on him.
Oh yeah,
Gingerbread Man. I missed that one, so I have to look for that one.
We'll have to after we sign off here, we'll have to check eBay and see how ridiculous it might be. It might be a bad time of year to look. You might want to look in like July,
And also, I've got to look before I drop the episode, because then all the people's going to put it up for extreme prices trying to get me to buy it.
That's right. They're after.
But yeah, I remember those Ministry bulbs. That's always something I have my eye on, because it's so nostalgic. I remember that so well.
Right.
But yeah, I had to look for that figure one too. That was a real nice likeness of him, especially an ornament. That's a nice one to have.
Yeah, I know Dorio over at Talking Taker. He'll post this yearly on his Christmas tree. And I happen to have the same one. I have no recollection where I got it, though. I have no idea if I bought it or somebody got it for me.
The funny thing about wrestling ornaments is you never see it in the store.
Right?
You never see it at Walmart, a Target, any type of Christmas ornament store. You never see these. So I don't know where they pump these out at, but apparently some people are getting them.
Right.
And now I got to find it.
And when as well as I do, when you're a Taker fan for your whole life, people just buy you stuff. And then so pretty soon you're like, I don't remember who bought that for me or how I got it, but here it is.
I'm like, what? And they probably don't even remember where they bought it from. So it's like, okay.
right? I kind of, now that we talk, I kind of want all the gingerbread men. I'll have to look into it.
Yeah, I kind of want all of them too now. So close. I love it's like something they do yearly, so might as well.
When my buddy bought me this one, and it was just a couple of little gifts. It was like this, and he got me some power of positivity socks, and
Power positivity socks.
like you just got. I remember thinking like, this is dumb. Why would I want to put this? I actually remember not wanting to put this on my tree, my junk tree. And I was like, I don't know, how is this dumb? And then fast forward like 5 years, and now I'm like, man, I kind of want all these. I should buy them all.
Yeah, you should. I have to see how much they are on eBay. Hopefully not a lot, but we'll see.
Right. So I did look up for some. I don't have personal taker memories for Christmas. Like I don't remember if I got any specific taker gifts on Christmas that I can recall. But I did look up some taker moments, some favorite taker moments.
This works.
Yeah. And I mean, the first thing, because I thought of like Steven and I got to talk about taker at Christmas time. I mean, look at our sweaters, for God's sake.
Right.
So I was like, what did he ever do at Christmas time? And his character doesn't really fit Christmas, but he's done some stuff. And one of the first things I thought of, do you remember, and I'm going to bring it up right now.
Oh boy.
Do you remember the Shop Zone catalog in the fall of '98 where The Undertaker is tattooing Santa's ass?
Yes. I don't remember getting the catalog, but I remember that very famous photo of, Undertaker, like totally Ministry of Darkness, but also American Badass before even the Badass.
Yeah, he's kind of in the middle of it. And he's got that Taker's tattoo shop. I got mine in Hell shirt.
Yep.
And he's tattooing Santa's ass with the scratch logo.
Yeah.
And I always feel like Santa is possibly, if you won't get a chance to see from this picture, but he kind of looks like Bruce Pritchard. I don't know if he's Bruce Pritchard or not, unconfirmed, but he looks like Bruce Pritchard to me.
That would not surprise me if it's Bruce Pritchard. Would not surprise me at all. But that is funny. I remember that.
I've got a trunk full of programs and old WWF magazines. It's under the stairs, buried.
Just like Harry Potter.
Buried, pun intended. But I feel like that catalog's in there. I feel like I own that, but I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like it's in there.
That's a Twitter post one day, just to unearth all of those and just go through what you have. That's a Twitter post.
Yeah, and some of them are like the old school like WCW programs. I went and saw Hogan versus Sting when that was a touring attraction, and
give it a couple of years, it'll probably be another touring attraction.
Right. So the first was that Shop Zone catalog. That's the very first thing I thought of, and the next thing I thought of was there was a Christmas episode. I'm sure it was taped before that, but there was a Christmas episode of 1993. 12/25/93, Saturday Morning Superstars.
Wow.
And they are touring the Undertaker's workshop every week as Undertaker builds the double wide casket for Yokozuna before the 1994 Royal Rumble in January. And so on 12/25, they tour his workshop, and Taker has a wreath on the casket lid. And he says that soon Yokozuna will be the one who's gift wrapped. And he says, and it's cold out, so you can see his breath. And he says, "Merry Christmas, Yokozuna. Ho, ho, ho." And then they have the dong go off, like bong, and then like end segment. And it was just so
I remember that. That was so corny and cheesy, but I love it.
Yeah, like just with his breath, and you could see that his, like, every time he would exhale, you could just see it. Ho, ho, ho. And it was
it's so creepy, but it works perfectly.
Yes. I remembered that. I did not remember that he said that Yokozuna will be the one that's gift wrapped. That was new. I don't remember that at all. That was kind of cool. So that was a moment. And then the other two moments I got, and I don't think you'd ever draw the line, Undertaker and Rock have a couple of good Christmas moments together. They have a couple of good Christmas matches. And I would never think of the Undertaker and the Rock as like, oh yeah, Christmas.
Yeah. I didn't even think Undertaker had this many Christmas moments.
Yeah. So he on actual Christmas Raw, 12/25/2000. So this is a couple months ago, we did Undertaker and Rock winning and losing the tag team titles.
Yeah.
A week later, a week after they win and lose the tag team titles, they're put in the Raw main event against each other on 12/25/2000. And The Rock has a promo beforehand where he sings, Brahma Bull is coming to town.
Rock is so great.
I mean, the crowd ate it up. And he talks about Taker's yard is in the middle of the people's planet. And they go 10 minutes. And it was like a really good back and forth match that they had. They go 10 full minutes. And then it was a no contest DQ when Rikishi ran in. And I'm not kidding. He ran in and he sat on both of them.
He sat on both. He pulled his best Nia Jax. He just sat on both of them.
Yeah, he did attack both of them and he sat on both of them. So it was kind of a DQ, no contest finish. But they did have a really good back and forth for 10 minutes. And that's parallel to Christmas Raw. It was called Christmas Raw, but it was on 12/22/97. So this is a young Rock. He's still The Rock. He's not Rocky Maivia, but he's The Rock. But he's it's a very young Rock, and he's in the Nation still.
Oh.
And they go. There's no promo or anything, but they go 10 minutes again. They go about 10 minutes. No contest again, as the Nation and Paul Bearer both interfere.
Oh my God.
Paul Bearer is doing that thing where he interrupts the Undertaker and distracts him during matches, talking about how Kane is coming.
Yeah.
So it's just funny how that ran parallel with the match they had 3 years later. 10 minutes, no contest, interference, but Rock having 2 Christmas matches with the Undertaker in 97 and 2000. Kind of funny.
That is funny. That is really something. Who would have thought both of them within what, 5, not even 3 years of each other? That's something.
And only 3 years, but and by the way, my next episode of SmackDown is starting up, and it is the Fist. You are correct.
Yes.
Yeah, and even though it's only 3 years in real time, it is like an eternity, because you go from like young, I'm barely called The Rock, I'm still in the Nation, to like by 2000, he is The Rock.
Yes.
Without question. Yeah.
And Undertaker goes from just like getting out of the Shawn Michaels feud, going into Kane. Then you got the Lord of Darkness, the Ministry, the Badass. Undertaker changes so much in those 3 years.
Absolutely, yeah. It's just, so much can happen, and you wouldn't think of 3 years being a very long time, but both characters really, really changed during that time.
Yes, they did.
I think Undertaker's wearing that pirate shirt in 12/22/97. He's wearing that pirate shirt doing the Lord of Darkness. Yeah, that's the one that comes with Bret Hart, right? The 2-pack that's coming out.
Yes. Hopefully one of these things comes in the mail before our next episode.
Have you? I haven't seen anything new. Have you seen anything new on the Elite top picks? Like what it looks like, what it is? I haven't found anything.
I think the wrestling figure board I follow, Steve, the guy that does the marketing, he says that the top pick should be the Boneyard Taker.
Okay.
Maybe they'll change it up or something.
That's what I'd like to know. I'd like to know before I dive in blindly and just get it.
Doesn't matter to me. I'm adding to the collection anyway.
Well, for you, the packaging is going to be different for sure. It'll at least say top picks 2023.
His first top pick's Elite.
Right.
So that's cool. That's cool that he's joining that collection.
For sure.
Finally.
Yeah, because there's one Elite and one Basic, right?
Yep, and he's in both of them this year.
Right.
Yeah, that's great.
It's kind of the Undertaker, like we talk about, his character is so iconic, and it's had so many changes over the years. He was smart to do that. Not only at the time was he smart, but now, even now that he's done, in theory, he's done so much merchandise. I mean, he will never stop having stuff.
Never. WWE will own him for the rest of his life, so they never have to do anything. They'll just keep pumping out merchandise. So
I'm sure he's glad he's fishing and getting paid. Thinking, all right, cool, send the check.
Yeah, right. He'll take that box of Mattel action figures. He'll give it to friends and family.
Right.
It's just something to think about. Like, we have never experienced a world without him wrestling. Now we'll never experience a world without some kind of piece of merchandise coming out.
I had a little bit of a heart attack when The Miz on Raw this Monday announced that he was going to be in the Hall of Fame. Not that I'm against The Miz being in the Hall of Fame. He's been around a long time. But I'm like, oh no, not this year. This is supposed to be
Miz.
This is supposed to be the Undertaker's year and only the Undertaker's year. So I was really scared at first until I found out and kind of realized that it was a ruse and he was kidding around and being a heel. But at first I was like, oh no, this can't be real.
Yeah.
Taker only this year, please. Yes. Taker only.
Please. Yes. McMahon will die before he puts Miz in the Hall of Fame first.
I will buy all the like we talked about. I will buy all the Hall of Fame merchandise, and then I will slide in that gingerbread man right at the same time.
And I would love a Hall of Fame Undertaker figure, please, Mattel, if you are listening.
Oh, for sure.
Yes. So that would be very much appreciated.
Yes. Well, every time we talk it into existence, it does have a weird way of happening.
Yeah, I think that Steve secretly follows my podcast, so he's just always listening for ideas.
Right.
He can use them. He can use as many as he wants.
He'll make at least 2 sales.
Yes, at least 2, and I buy multiples, so
there you go. Right.
King for Mattel. King for them. Oh man. I can't believe the episode we covered. The exact next one is the debut of the Fist stage as we are watching. I just can't believe it.
Yeah, I guess I didn't. I remembered obviously that Rhino and Jericho killed the old set.
Yeah.
I remember now, but I did not until you mentioned the Fist. I was like, yeah, the Fist was SummerSlam 01, which is right now pretty much. So yeah, that makes sense. You're right.
Yeah. And didn't think about all these Christmas moments with the Undertaker. This is why you bring so much journalism to the episode, which I appreciate so heartily, because I never would have guessed Undertaker had Christmas specials, Christmas matches. That's something you think about.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the 2 against The Rock, and then I that ho 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 with Yokozuna, and then who can forget that Shop Zone catalog?
Who can forget? Who can forget? Well, Undertaker's always been special to my Christmas, as you know. He's always on my list when I was a kid for figures. The Titantron Live was a big Christmas gift.
You talked about that 2 episodes ago, right?
Yeah, I talked about that. I think I talked about that 2 episodes ago, and also with Talking Taker.
Yeah,
on Live. Yeah, it was something just. It was a perfect Christmas gift. You got the big stage, you got the trash talking stage with it also. So any type of Undertaker merchandise or figure, especially ones that were coming around the holidays, it always made its way onto my list. Always has been. He's always been a part of my Christmas.
I don't know if Taker specific, but I do remember, I think I got the Hasbro ring around Christmas time one year.
Nice.
And I remember getting my Big Boss Man uncle that I bought that Big Boss Man Elite
the Big Boss Man uncle.
And he slowed up my Ultimates package. But he actually bought me WrestleMania Challenge for Wrestling Challenge for NES for Nintendo. So I was 1 year for Christmas. So that was like the Christmas gift, was the WWF Nintendo game in like 1990, where you actually play as YOU, and you're just a regular nondescript guy, and then you have to work your way up the ladder, and you have to beat Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and you have to beat Brutus the Barber Beefcake, and you have to work your way up to like Andre the Giant and $1 Million Man, and then you have to work your way up to Macho and Hogan and Warrior, and then if you can do all that, then you win the championship. So
nice.
Wrestling Challenge. That was a big gift.
Video games always, video games with The Undertaker, any type of thing with The Undertaker, always something on my Christmas list. I remember one year I used allowance money or some type of money I had to buy an Undertaker figure right before Christmas, which upset my father so much because he was planning to get me the figure for Christmas. So he said, never again are you going to buy something before Christmas, because then he was forced to get me like John Cena or something, some type of wrestling action figure. He had to go out and buy something else.
Right. You're thinking,
So he
what
said,
is
never again am I going to let you buy something before Christmas. So yeah, that's always something fun, because I think it was one of the Jack's Ring Rage figures that
Sure.
came out right before Christmas, and I used allowance money to buy it, and he, oh my God, no, never again allow me to do that again. Yeah, but that's always fun. That was a fun memory to think about too.
It's funny. It's especially if you're
you just don't want to wait.
right. If you're young enough, you're getting a ride. Yeah, you'd be like, oh, I don't think I can give you a ride today. Not to buy that.
No. I don't think I got rides near Christmas ever again to toy stores or things like that.
That's great.
Yes. Well, this has been another great episode. We have again taken an 8-minute match and made it into an hour special, as we always do. I cannot wait until next month as we wrap up Undertaker's Tag Team Championship victories in a nice little bow with SummerSlam 2001. We will lay that to rest and start our next chapter in February, which can't wait for either one of those. And it's all I've got. Any parting words, Randy, for the listeners?
No, that's all I have. Just it's all I have. It was all my notes today.
Perfect.
Just Merry Christmas and enjoy the holidays, everybody.
Yes. Everybody listening, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Enjoy this video on YouTube. Enjoy listening to it on your preferred podcast platform. And make sure to join us again next month as we put the bow on the Tag Team Championship victories with SummerSlam 2001 in the steel cage. And make sure to pick up your very own Undertaker Ugly sweater at WWEshop.com so that you can join us in this wardrobe and watch it along with us as well. And as I say here each and every week, please sure to join us. Same Taker time, same Taker channel, and keep on rolling, baby. Until next time. Thank you again, Randy.
Thank you.